they're speaking from the topic, the universal voice. And to me, it's just the all-knowing voice. That's a voice that is everywhere. It's in the song, it's in our thoughts. It's we are. It doesn't. To me, the universal voice is what reminds us that we are all one. And if we get to see life as a universal voice, then we get to live more in the connection that of who we are as one rather than individual beings. And even though we are individualized expressions of the one, I think sometimes we can still feel a little bit separated from each other. But we are always, I believe, hearing that voice of the celestial, of the universe, of life itself. And right now, everybody, I do want to again let you know that this is Reverend Cindy Grimes and Reverend Peggy Hostet, and I'm getting all choked up here because Reverend Peggy was one of our instructors at Holmes in our Florida campus, and so instrumental in myself, and I'm sure Cindy and many of our colleagues in becoming ministers, but even more so, just being just better human expressions of the divine is what I'm going to say. So I just thank you and I praise you. And by the way, I am not in New York right now. So I am actually in Ocala, Florida. And so that's why I get to be in the presence of these wonderful beings, Reverend Cindy and Reverend Peggy. So please say hi.
Hi, Rodney. It's great to have you in Ocala, and I'm looking forward to hanging out a little bit.
All right.
Catching up, starting the new year, right?
Yes, indeed.
And it was so wonderful to have you here this morning, and Reverend Peggy to pray us in today, and as we get started with our presentation, our talk. So it's been a great morning so far.
Absolutely. And so we're talking about living out loud, which is the global theme for this year for Centers for Spiritual Living. And the monthly theme is root and reboot. For the whole month of January, we are being rooted in the truth and rebooting our consciousness, possibly, and maybe our thinking and our goals and visions and ideas, desires, dreams, wants, whatever it is. We are and even that which we don't want, we might be rebooting it out of our lives. Kick it out. However, the theme for today is the universal voice, that there is this one song playing, and is it like the song of life itself, that each of us hear, and we're hearing it in different languages through our different experiences. And however, it's still that one voice that has so many different interpretations. And I think first and foremost for me is to remember to recognize that everybody hears the voice and they hear it differently. And we do so. I think that folks involved in spiritual philosophy, spiritual practice, that not that we're any better than anybody else. However, I think that we can start first and foremost through a spiritual lens, from looking at the lens of spirit, the God's eye view of life, uh, entertaining wholeness and oneness as first nature, as opposed to maybe I should look at it a different way. We can start off that way. Does that make any sense to anybody?
Yeah, and it's a wonderful metaphor, this idea of the universal voice and rebooting. If we put those two things together, how many of us have a cell phone that doesn't work, or the TV's gone bonkers, or whatever, and we know to unplug them, to turn them off, and then we get the original setting of our electronics when we turn it back on. And if we were to combine that with this universal voice, what we're doing when we reboot our phone or our TV or our computer because we've turned them off and then turned them back on. We've invited the essence of what they are to come forth without all the garbage that might have been accumulating in them. And, to use that as a metaphor for our lives, how often do we say when things aren't going really smoothly, take a breath? Reverend Cindy talked about that in her talk this morning. Just take a breath, which invites us to center, doesn't it?
Yeah.
And that centering invites us in our busy lives to hear the universal voice, which we might have been overlooking until we did that.
That's so true, Reverend Peggy. And it's easy to overlook when things are clouded up. I know with my computer, I've got to purge some things because then it just doesn't operate correctly. And if I don't clean out my email, all of a sudden, I'm not getting the most up-to-date emails. All of a sudden, there's just so many, and I do have a lot. I've got to purge them so it operates so that I can get to actually see what's there and what's new, which is really important when it comes to email. So yeah, I love that. Thank you for bringing that up. Anything for you, Reverend Moata?
Well, what I like about it is, okay, I had something. oh, when you talk about that, it reminds me of going back to default parameters. See, the reboot resets it back to default parameters. And the default parameter for everything is consciousness.
Right.
So, yeah, I'm all in on that. Yes, I'm always about going back to the default parameters. That's why I get still. Make the mind still so that I don't have to listen to the frightened Moata start speculating on what needs to be done to solve the equation. I'm going to do is I'm going to be still and let spirit tell me what to do. And it works every time.
Uh-huh. And I heard Reverend Cindy this morning when she was opening her talk and talking about things that we want to let go of, which is just so important. And during the year, and she talked about accumulating stuff and throwing away like a huge big bin of stuff, and yeah, that was very inspirational to me. So, but it just reminds me that what is that quote? It says, "With all thy understand, with all thy getting, get the understanding." And it seems like I can spend this whole year trying to get stuff, just get, and forgetting why am I getting. And I really believe that getting is to get me to get closer to God, to get a closer everyday walking, talking, availability of my awareness of God. Just to, so I accumulate books, I accumulate emails, I accumulate all this stuff that, this is going to remind me of God. I got a wall full of stuff to point me back to me, back to the presence of God within me. And I think that it's very easy to get distracted looking on the outside to point right back to the inside, to point my attention and my intention back to my evolution, or my ascension, my awareness back to the presence. And so I think that, yes, I'm seeking God. And I think, we're all in some way, shape, or form seeking that complete embrace of the divine. Like, yes, I am with God and God is with me. Except when I'm driving and somebody cuts me off and all of a sudden, God, put God in the back seat, I'm like, I got this, God. I'm going to catch up and tell that person off. But really, and here's a quote that I'd like everyone to speak to. And this is kind of what reminds me of what I was just mentioning. I hope you can see that. Well, let's try it again. There you go. Can you read that? It says, we seek God so earnestly, not to find him, but to discover ourselves, by James Michener from The Source. And I think with all that seeking, it's so easy to take ourselves out of the equation, thinking it's all about the seeking and not realizing, what a short distance it really could be. Anybody else want to comment on that?
Would you say it one more time? Because I don't think I saw that.
Uh-huh. Okay. It says, we seek God so earnestly, not to find him or her or it, but to discover ourselves. James Michener, The Source.
Well, I mean, we can go back to the default parameters because, one of the simplest, most complex concepts of the philosophy that I've run across is the idea that God is all there is. I heard it in foundations class and I repeated it and said it, because logically it kind of made sense to me, but I didn't really get it. We don't have enough time for me to tell you how I finally captured it in my own consciousness. But basically, what that says is we don't exist. God exists, and we are expressions of God. So when we find God, we do find ourselves. We find it's like the images on the movie have discovered the projector. And then wait a second, there's somebody back there working that machine. Hey, Mo. To me, it's all about self-discovery. It's all about, the excavation of consciousness. And the deeper I dig, the more I discover that there's so much I've always known that I forgot or got programmed out of me, that if I can just be still and let it, rise to the surface, then I can know whatever I need to know when I need to know it for whatever purpose. And so, yeah, seeking God, we do discover ourselves. And I don't know if we know that's why we're seeking God. I think people are seeking God because they want to know God, and they think that by knowing God, they'll find some kind of fulfillment and purpose. And so maybe that's what it means. But yeah, what was it John Lennon said, all love songs are songs about God. So it's inescapable.
Mm-hmm.
The only thing that exists is the divine.
Yeah, and how often do we look for something and then discover that we had what we needed? That we didn't need to go buy something else to have what we need. We already had it. I have a number of stories about that this last month, getting ready for Christmas. And sometimes as we just let go, we discover we had it all along. We had bought a TV for the kitchen, but it didn't fit under the counter with the stand that came with it. So we used another makeshift stand, and now I was ready to put that little TV up on a shelf, and I needed the stand, and I could not think where I would have put that stand. So I started shopping online to buy one. $20, $30 for just a little simple thing to hold a 19-inch screen, And then I just let it go and said, God, it's in your hands. And I was looking for extension cords for all my Christmas lights and Christmas tree. And you know what? That stand was in the back of that drawer. And I was glad I hadn't actually made the purchase on Amazon, because I needed what I needed, I had. And I thought, this is one of those messages that what we're seeking, we already do have. And for us to take the time to just let go and allow that wisdom to surface enough so that, because I did not remember putting that stand in the back of that drawer. Mm-hmm. But I even put a note on the little bag that it was in on masking tape that said, this is for the kitchen TV. It had been several years ago, and I would not have guessed that that's where I put it. And all the places I guessed where I put it, I didn't find it. Mm-hmm. Seems like I'm always seeking and then discovering I've already got it. Or if something that I want to buy, it does come in at a good price. So, and that feels good too. But this idea of seeking God is seeking for that which will complete us, I think. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. And then when we come to the discovery that we already have it, then we perhaps wake up and reboot. Back to those default parameters and know it's all there. And that's that omnipresence. You're right, Reverend Yoada. That's that God is everywhere present all the time. And as we awaken to that, we get the gift of it.
Absolutely.
And
And
everywhere present, you got the omnipresent, omniscient, omnipotent, and omnibenevolent. So, when I realize that that's my nature, see, this is what we have to get, that this is our nature. This is who we are. Now we can make up a different story and be whatever we want to be. And, my favorite is the story of Puss in Boots when the Puss in Boots is talking about a magical cat. And the ogre grabs the cat and says, I'm going to eat you. And the cat says, well, sure, you can eat me. You're a great, powerful ogre. You can turn yourself into anything big and strong and powerful. But, I bet you can't turn yourself into a mouse. What? You can be a mouse? Watch this. Of course, he turns himself into a mouse and the cat eats him. Are running from cats.
yeah, that's great. So here's another quote. It says, "Be still and know that there is a universal power seeking an outlet through you, and the instrument of its power is our mind." It reminds me, there's another part to this quote. It also says, when you still the mind to all outside influences and internal chatter, the power will become activated. By Ian Van Zant. One day my soul just opened up. And I like that part because even when you were speaking, Reverend Peggy, be still and know there's a universal power seeking an outlet through you. When I'm ready to change, usually after I've exhausted myself and I'm so frustrated, I just have to be still. When I don't remember to start off still, I'm like, okay, if I'm looking for my keys, I have to just be still and not even replay it in my mind where I may have put it. I just be still and okay, use that mind power that operates so well in the stillness to guide me to where it is, to whatever it is I'm looking for, my keys or whatever it might be. And that's a very simple use of the power. However, it doesn't matter, what the use is, as long as I'm using it. It's especially if I'm in a rush and I need my keys. It's great, but not to depend on just my brain power, because there is a difference, and to be still and allow for that divine answer to reveal itself to me. And so that universal power, which is available to everyone, and as we teach when we first come into this teaching about parking, parking 101, manifest a parking spot, which I like to think I've mastered at least that. Those who know me know I pretty much get a parking spot anywhere, everywhere. But
yes, you do. Yes, you do. You're liable to roll up on a brother anywhere. You have uncanny abilities with automobiles and traffic.
Yeah. Well, it's all God.
Reverend Rodney, if I may, this reminds me of another quote. And I think it's Emerson who said, get your bloated nothingness out of the way of the divine circuit. Mm-hmm. We don't activate the Holy Spirit. It's active. It can't, it's not inert. It's active all the time. Mm-hmm. But because we think we're mice and we're running from cats, when we get still, that we clear away, like the bloated nothingness, the baggage, whatever the stuff is. Now we see, oh, wait a second, there's a river here. Okay, wow, there's gold right here. Mm-hmm. And because it's always there. It's always happening. It can't be otherwise. This is our divine birthright. It's what we came here to do. Mm-hmm. So, God is always God. God is always active. God can't be passive. Even being passive is active. Sometimes doing nothing is the biggest something you can do. So, I love that idea of, I like when she's talking about activating, but I just believe that we don't activate God. I think God is animating us.
Absolutely.
we fall in and out of that awareness, you know. And well, when we're aware, we do great stuff, and we do great stuff when we're not aware. It's just not always what we want.
I just wanted to include a comment by Ellen Suazo, our practitioner. It says, we must be able to be still in order to hear the subtle voice of divine love, and it will guide every step of our life. And it's beautiful when we rely on that voice to lead us in our life. So, yes, absolutely. Yes.
I encourage people. I kind of got into it. I'm not going to mention the minister's name. It wasn't our esteemed company right here, but from the state of Florida was talking about thinking or something. And I wrote back and I said, I encourage my people to think as little as possible. Science minister and encouraging people not to think. I'm thinking to myself, how could you be a religious science minister and encourage people to think? You know, what are you talking about? Thinking is the bloated nothingness that they're talking about.
You know, maybe part of the reboot is to go from being seekers to finders.
No doubt about it.
Mhm.
Right?
Cindy,
Yes.
wonderful.
Yeah.
You know, my name Muata means seeker.
Really.
Yeah, I've been thinking about changing it to finder. But seeking means you're on a quest, and so you're always open for more. So I accept, you know. But
That's true. There's a time for both, right? There's
Yeah,
a time for seeking, and then you realize, wow, what I've been looking for is here. As you've all said so beautifully, it's just right here. I don't have to keep the effort. I don't have to keep trying. I just have to be still and allow it to be so.
absolutely.
Well, that's
Well,
interesting. Well, I was going to say, I like that because, you know, the whole purpose of seeking is to find. However, what we also know about the nature of the universe, that it's always expanding. Life is always making more of itself. So there will always be more to see, more to seek, and more to find.
Sounds like that universal voice you were talking about.
Mhm. Well, I think about the voice of God, and I remember when I first started allowing myself to be open, I'm like, you know, there's something about this voice of God. It doesn't stop talking. It's, you know, when I only when I'm talking or I'm making noise, I'm being busy, I'm being feeling that sense of separation or distraction, then I don't hear the voice. But as soon as I get still, as soon as I calm down, as soon as I trust, all of a sudden I hear that voice. And the only time I don't like hearing the voice is when I don't want to do what the voice says.
Mm-hmm.
I want to say something about that, Reverend Rodney, because quite frankly, I disagree that you have to be still. You don't have to be still. Being still helps,
Mm-hmm.
but sometimes in the cacophony of confusion, the voice will pierce through all of that so with such clarity that, you know, I don't know how to say it. It's like you can be in a room full of people making noise and your mama call your name and you hear her call your name. And so I've been in some dire situations. I remember when I was being assaulted and my life was in danger. You know, I thought I'm gonna die. I'm here bleeding from the chest, thinking and I heard the voice saying, "You're not gonna die." And I'm like, "Are you kidding? It looks like I'm gonna die." No, got a better purpose for you. This isn't it. I'm like, well, that's good to know. Then I calmed down, but I was panicking up until then. You can
And
hear the voice.
it can show up as more than a voice too. It can show up
sure.
as an action
right.
or an idea
Yep.
that comes to us. And so it's interesting when you consider universal song is vibration, and everything that exists in the material world is vibration.
Yeah.
And so the voice of God can show up as a bird outside the window that gives us hope, or finding something that you thought you'd lost, or someone calling you on the phone to encourage you in a time when you really need it, or someone calling on the phone needing our encouragement in a time that we might be a little down. And just by our being asked to pray for someone else, it lifts us up. I mean, those are just some kind of things that come to mind to me about this universal voice showing up in lots of different ways. Just like today, I had no idea I was going to be on your program. It's the universal voice calling to me, and it's such a
Well,
pleasure.
you know, because there is, well, you know, the universal voice is not bound by past, present, or future. So that voice that I answered a long time ago that had me come to Holmes Institute, you know, spoke to me way back when, and look at us now. So that, you know, that voice, I think about when I'm doing my purging and I open up an old an old book or oh my God, what's the word? One of my journals, yeah, and I'm like, I don't remember writing this. I don't remember seeing this, or you know, and that voice maybe didn't have much meaning for me then, whatever I wrote then, but it's speaking to me now. You know? So I think that voice is most certainly active and available all the time, as you mentioned, Reverend Peggy, throughout whatever form it appears, whatever it presents itself in.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, absolutely. And it all contributes to us living out loud. That voice has us live life more fully. I mean, that's the intention. You know, I think the more fully we live, the more fully we allow ourselves to be present and live, that is, in effect, closer to God, so to speak. We're living from our God self so much more than Reverend Ed Tansey, most certainly, he says sometimes one stays busy to avoid hearing the voice of the divine. It's like, I'm planning to not listen to the voice. you know, yes, there's good for me, and you know, and for whatever reason, sometimes, you know, we're just trying to maybe stay small for whatever reason and not live out loud.
Yeah, that is exactly right, Rodney. Because even when we're doing that, we're aware. Because if we're going to talk about this, is the thing. I mean, we're talking about this universal voice, and that's all good. But if we're going to talk about the universal voice, we have to include the universal presence.
Mhm.
Okay, because universal presence comes with universal voice, universal knowledge, all comes together. And so when you're trying to play small like that, it's like we're trying to go dark. We're like, okay, God, don't look, don't see me right now. Don't get all active in me and start making me do my most conscious thing because I feel like doing something that I know I shouldn't be doing. Heck, you're communicating with God even then.
Mhm. Yeah, yeah. I love that. Yeah, yeah. Thank you, thank you.
We can pretend like we're not, we can pretend anything we want, and the universe makes it true.
It's like playing hide and seek, and like, oh well, you can't see me now.
One of my siblings, I think it was one of my younger sisters, she didn't know, she was just learning how to crawl. She would scoot backwards. She kind of felt like if I'm moving backwards, you can't tell I'm moving. She was convinced she was invisible.
All right. So this is so great. What we're gonna do is we're gonna move into the stage where we're making affirmations, and I invite everyone, of course, to participate. And since we have a full house here on the screen, each one gets to do an affirmation. When the rare opportunities, I don't get to do one. So I hope that you can see them when I bring them up.
All I'm seeing is me, Rodney.
Well, no, it's not up yet. Hold on.
All right. I don't see you or the other guest.
All right. So we'll have you do the first one, and then Reverend Peggy do the second one, and then Cindy will close it up through the last one. I just request that read it twice. Take and invite everybody to take a breath before reciting the affirmation. Okay, so just allowing for that presence to take hold and take over and be in the embrace. I'm going to put it up here for you, Reverend Martin. Invite each one to take a breath.
Okay, so I don't know what I'm doing wrong, Rodney. I don't see anything.
If we can't see it, that's okay. I'll do it. And invite each one to just take a breath in the stillness. Even if there seems to be a lot of noise around, just take a breath and allow for the voice of the divine to be your voice. And it says, the divine presence expresses itself by means of myself. Taking a breath and release. The divine presence expresses itself by means of myself. Okay. And then Reverend Peggy.
The song of my life is heard, felt, and understood by every beat of every heart.
Taking a breath. Again.
The song of my life is heard, felt, and understood by every beat of every heart.
Mm.
Beautiful.
And Reverend Cindy.
Take another deep breath. As God is, the I am that we are is God. And so it is, and now it is.
Okay.
I know who wrote that. I'm going to
Yeah.
say it again.
Yeah.
As God is, the I am that we are is God. And so it is, and now it is.
And now it is. Yes. Thank you all. Yes. So I'm going to move into prayer right now, do a brief treatment.
Reverend
5
Rodney, I
step
got to sign
treatment.
up.
And I'm going to bring you all back.
And Beth is saying hello.
I'm sorry, say it again.
I said, I'm going to have to run, but
Okay.
Beth is here, and so is Gabriella, and they both say hello.
Oh, greetings. All right. Welcome. All right. Thank you so much, Reverend Moatis.
It's always a pleasure.
Your pleasure.
I look forward to it. God bless.
All right. And so,
Where's everybody?
my beloveds, I'm going to have you on the sideline for just a moment and bring you back in just a moment. So don't go away. All right. Oh, how wonderful it is to be in the presence of love. It's an opportunity right now as we go within. I invite each and every one to join me in this, in the universal voice from the universal mind. And this is the voice of the divine, the voice of God, the voice of love that is everywhere, equally present, equally powerful, and most certainly equally knowing. And it is a voice that is familiar because it is a voice that sounds like your voice. It is a voice of God that speaks and sounds just like you. And I am knowing that this voice from the one mind is operating in conjunction and collaboration for the greater good in the realm of health, that there is perfect and vibrant health that is happening for each and every one. It is the voice that speaks the word of health. And that says that each and every iota of life bursts with vibrant health. That every action of the body is steeped in this vibrant, electric sense of health, of the oneness of the divine. I know that in God there is no illness. There is perfect, vibrant beingness. And so I am knowing that as the recreations of the Creator, that everything in this form, be it temporary in this form, that it is replicating itself in perfect fashion, that each one is open to that right and perfect healing through the revealing of truth, that everything is of God and everything is making its way back to the revelation of the oneness and the sanctity and the pureness of the divine. And it happens in each and every cell. It's operating at peak efficiency in any and every healing. And this is the very nature of the divine. And I know that this celestial voice, this universal voice, speaks its word when it comes to our finances, when it comes to all that is necessary for us to establish and operate ourselves and our ideas and our thoughts and bring our dreams to fruition, to reality, to fruition. And that the finances are necessary activity of God. Everyone is using their voice, can use this voice to say yes to the greater good that is readily available, to say yes to more money, yes to more good in whatever form that allows each and every one to be, to do, and to have what is necessary to accomplish the mission on this planet, on this plane at this time. And so I bless each and every one for the right and perfect relationships that are using this universal voice to communicate love, to communicate joy, to communicate compassion, and all of the good that is available of spirit. So this voice is speaking loudly and clearly as we live out loud, as we love out loud, as we give out loud. I give thanks for all of this and more that is available to each and every one by simply using their voice, whether spoken or thought, that says yes to the greater good. I know that this word is already bringing forth wonderful manifestations because this word, this universal voice, this word is spoken into the law of divine right action that does what it is here to do. It says, speak and it shall be done. I give thanks for knowing that it is the law that gets it done here and right now. And I affirm this, and I invite each one to affirm it by knowing it is the truth, by saying it is so, and so it is, and now it is, right here and right now. And so I am also inviting each and every one to make use of One Love Center for Spiritual Living and centers all around the world that are ready, willing, and available to be of support. And we are prayer professionals, ready, willing, and able to remind you that spirit is always full of power, always charged, and already within you for your immediate use. And if there's anything going on in your world of affairs that doesn't feel like peace and love and joy and the prosperity and the health and the wellness and all the good that you desire, if there's anything that feels less than that, then call on us for that. And we will know the truth about whatever situation that you are going through, that God is all there is and always ready, always willing for your greater good to be revealed in the here and the right now. So if there's so much joy in your life and you don't know how to handle it, call on us and we will know the truth that there is within you plenty of room for joy and more. And you can contact us through our email, onelove@onelovecenter.org. You can call 844-295-5155. And please know that all your prayer requests are kept in the strictest of confidence. Thank you. So use us, like the song says, use me. Use us. We have myself and Ellen Suazo, practitioner. We have Reverend Hajra. And if you don't use our center, use the center, Center for Spiritual Living, Ocala. Use whichever one you can find wherever you are, but use us. This is what we're here for. Now, we're also here to be to allow for giving and receiving to take place, to be in the flow of circulation. And we are so grateful for your donations to One Love Center, and it can be done through PayPal. OneLoveCenter.org. You go to our website and find PayPal. You can use the Cash Me app, the $sign One Love Center CSL. And you can also support One Love Center through smile.amazon.com/One Love Center Teaching Chapter. So that's us. We just haven't quite been able to change the name of that. But the purchases that you make on Amazon, and so many are doing that, Amazon will donate a portion of your purchase to One Love Center. So we are so grateful for those who have been doing so in the past and those who are continuing to do so. Thank you so very much. And we have an affirmation of abundance to assist you in that prosperity consciousness. And listen, we give thanks for your giving to One Love Center. I urge each and every one to just give somewhere to something, just be in the flow of good. And we certainly love for you to share some of that abundant nature of the universe called money with One Love Center. And we have affirmation of abundance. And it goes like this. And you can recite together. You can put your hand over your heart and feel that energy, that heartbeat, that flow, that circulation. And it says, money, as one of many gifts of spirit, is good. And as I share my offerings, I know that I am actively creating a space to receive more gift, more money, and more good. And I am grateful for the ability to give and for the good work these gifts do in our center and in our world. And now it is. So I want to thank you all so very much. I'm going to bring back esteemed guests, Reverend Peggy, Reverend Cindy, for any closing remarks that you may have. I can't, you're muted. Yeah.
Hey, I want to thank you for inviting us today and wish you and all of your viewers a very happy new year, a great 2023 as we root and reboot through our teaching, living our best lives, That's my affirmation for all of us.
Thank you.
Yes, and thank you for allowing me to join with you. It was a great surprise, a wonderful gift to see you in person, Reverend Rodney, and be on your show. And know that all those who would choose to keep coming back to Reverend Rodney's program each week and find and seek out other centers for spiritual living and allow those to feed you spiritually throughout the year of 2023. Knowing your life is blessed because of your willingness to grow spiritually and to be here with one another and encouraging each other. It's wonderful seeing the comments today too.
Awesome. Thank you so much. And thank you for bringing that up. I do want to recognize that we had Ellen Suazo, our practitioner, who had joined us. And we had Tina Fista. And also we had Reverend Ed Tansey, who's a dear friend, mentor. And we also had some other people, and for some reason, I'm not able to bring it up. I don't know why.
Lita. Lita's on there. Hey, Lita.
Hey, oh yes, of course. Lita
and Ed.
And a special prayer for Lita, who is recovering from a impromptu, procedure, and knowing that she is on the mend, and knowing that it is happening with expediency, with pain-free expediency. And so that we know that for you. And Lita normally would be behind the scenes helping out. And so she's resting and just participating. Yeah, I don't know why I'm not able to see any more comments, but and anybody else who I may have missed, welcome and thank you for being with us, and tell a friend and come back. And I don't know what's going on. Oh, here we go. Okay, and procedure. Yeah, so I caught that. All right. And yes, so, and thank you all who are watching later, and you can still comment. So thank you so very much. It's time now for two things. One is our closing prayer, for which I will most certainly invite Reverend Cindy and Reverend Peggy to participate. And then I'll start, and you guys take the middle, and I'll close it out, and then we'll finish with a song. Oh, I'm just inviting you all to move into this place of preparation for your new year, your new life, your reboot, booting out what's unnecessary and putting on new boots. You let the boots do the walking through your God boots, carrying you through with your God voice. And we go through this week, this one day at a time, allowing ourselves to hear the voice and to be the voice, to be the universal voice, which only speaks love, which only speaks all of the wonderful opportunities of divinity that we are, the love, the joy, the peace, to participate in the compassion and all of the unlimited good that is available. We give word to it. We speak the word to it from that place within. And I invite Reverend Cindy and Reverend Peggy to speak.
Well, I give thanks for this gathering of like minds and like hearts as we embark on a new year, a new journey, a new experience. And I just affirm, and I already know that every one of us has everything that we need to move through any challenges or circumstances, and not just move through it, but to thrive and to experience joy and peace and love and whatever it is that just warms your heart and brings about the manifestations of deepest desires. And so I give thanks for all of that. I give thanks for this beautiful company here together, for the words of wisdom that have been spoken, and I pass.
How grand it is to know that each one of us is growing in our awareness of our being as intentional spiritual beings, intentional creations and expressions of the divine. I give thanks for each person as they've been here today and those that will listen in the future, knowing that this calling forth of divine ideas blesses their lives and lifts them into a place of knowingness such that each day gets better than the one before, and that each challenge is handled easily. And knowing that each of us are divinely guided in all that we do, say, and think, and we experience and express wholeness and peace and joy. And I pass it back to Reverend Rodney.
This is such a delicious truth. Oh, I give thanks for the word spoken, for the universal voice that speaks so eloquently through divine beings. And there is a universal ear that is able to pick up that voice, that knows that voice so well, and that each of us opens up and is in tune with that voice. And I give thanks as we move forward with all of this awareness. And so I simply allow it to be the good that it is constantly and consistently and lovingly unfolding to be. And I simply say it is so, and I invite each one to join me in the closing and saying, and so it is.
And so it is.
And now it is.
And now it is.
And now it is.
Okay. Once again, peace and blessings, everyone. Go forth and prosper. Okay. We'll see you next time.